All right, so today I decided to try to do a walk and talk. Let me slow down before I get out of breath. I'm not that well, and I'm not in shape. I'm in shape.
Wow!
We're here to talk about wanting to buy a house. Now, what qualifies me to give my opinion on this topic? In the past 5 years, almost 6, my husband and I have bought and sold 3 properties. And each one of those properties we made improvements to. It wasn't necessary, but you get bored with life. So I feel like buying and selling and going through the search and closing process of 3 properties in 3 different locations in 3 different cities gives me a pretty good perspective. So the point is, like, right now, housing sucks. It's expensive. Buying a house is expensive. Renting is expensive. And all of that. So I think people really need to sit down and assess, why do you want to buy a house? Do you need to buy a house? Is it imperative? Is it important? And I understand everyone has their reasons, and no reason is more valid than anyone else's. And at the end of the day, it is your life. And it is a really huge choice you have to make. So let's just get some housekeeping out of the way. I am just a random stranger on the interwebs. I do not know you. You do not know me. I don't know your financial situation. I don't know your responsibilities in life. I don't know your work situation or living situation. But I do know how expensive it is to buy a home and sell a home. Selling a home is expensive too. Don't get it twisted. But in my opinion, the first thing you need to do is to sit down and assess, why do you want to buy a home? What is your why? What is your reason? Is it because you feel like, all right, I'm an adult. I've either graduated college, some people even out of high school, or I have a stable paying job. Now, the next move is to buy a house. If it's for that reason, I think that's like a weird reason, but that's just my opinion. But it's also a valid reason for someone else. And I feel like people shouldn't trick themselves into thinking, all right, I'm an adult, I have to buy a house. That's the next logical step. So assess that. Number 2, do you have the finances, or are you in a financial situation to buy a house? Because as I said, it's very expensive to buy a house. You got to think of the cost of the house and housing in your area. You got to think of title fees, closing fees. You got to think of the commission not only for your real estate agent, but the seller's real estate agent. You got to think of your time away from work, finding childcare if you don't want to bring them along, all of those things. You should also consider if you have debts that you need to pay. Like, do you have student loans? Do you have an auto loan? Do you have credit card debt? Do you owe your cousin Pinky some money? Like, what is that financial part of your life look like? Are you educated about the home buying process? Because before we bought our first property, we did go to a course given by the housing authority in our state, and I'll speak more on that later. But this was in 2017, 2018 when we bought our first home. So there was some stuff on YouTube, but not as much as there is now. So it was a few hours course that we had to go through because we wanted to get FHA funding, and they taught us a lot of things about buying a home, a lot of things I didn't know. So are you educated on the process of buying a home? Do you know everything it takes, all the steps you have to take? Do you have your finances ordered? Do you have down payment? Do you have, what the hell is that fee? earnest funds, which is like a fee to show the buyer that you're serious about buying that house, is money you put down and you get back. Well, it goes towards your fees and closing and stuff. So you're educated on that. Do you know about programs in your town, city, state, wherever you live, that could help you as a first-time home buyer? Are you educated on the down payment assistance programs? Are you educated on the different types of properties available? You also should pre-qualify. Are you educated on that process? What I'm getting at is just really educate yourself so you mitigate as many surprises as possible. Because when I did the math, and the math that was actually the math, they didn't match. And do you know, like, the average cost for a home in your area? Where I live in New England, the average cost for a home is, I think, $430,000. That's a lot of money. And in some areas, that doesn't get you a lot of house. Or if it does get you a home, it needs a lot of work. Are you okay with these interest rates right now? I understand from, the pandemic when rates were like 1%, 2%, 3%, 7%, I think as of today, filming this video, it's 7% for a 30-year conventional loan. I don't know what it is for HOA or adjustable rate. It's called an ARM, an adjustable rate mortgage. But you gotta look at stuff like that. Is renting still viable for you right now? Can you stay a little longer where you are to save more money? Or would moving to another city work for you to be able to afford things? I know that's not possible for everyone because, it's hard to just pick up and move. Especially if you don't work a remote job, or you have kids, or you're well instituted into your neighborhood and community. What else was I thinking of? Do you have the income to qualify for buying a home? And do you know the numbers for buying a home within your range so you're not house poor? Luckily, we haven't been house poor on any of the properties we've purchased. But that was by design. Even though I will admit, we did make the mistake of when we bought our first home, we had credit card debt and a car loan. So that took a lot of income, so there wasn't much wiggle room. And trust me, you do not want to be worrying about if your house is going to go into foreclosure. Because I went through a car repo, that shit was heartbreaking. If you want to hear about that, let me know. And then you also have to think, are you ready to do the maintenance and upkeep on your property? If you buy a single family home, or if you buy a multifamily home, sometimes even a condo or whatever property type, but especially for single and multifamilies, do you want to mow the lawn? Do you have money saved in case your refrigerator goes? My mother-in-law, her water heater just went. It's winter here. She had no hot water. Her heat still worked, but no hot water. Do you have money to replace something like that if it goes? Are you okay with possibly having to replace the roof, the windows, doors? You also have to have property insurance. You have to pay your own utilities. I'm not just talking about heating costs. You have to pay your water bill, sewage, trash collection. If you want a video breaking down all of those fees, let me know. But these are all things to take into consideration when you're buying a home. If you have kids or want kids, do you want to buy in a good school district? Unfortunately, in this country, I don't know about other countries, when you want to live in a good school district, that comes at a premium. Your property taxes will most likely be higher. The cost of the homes will be higher. and you'll have way more competition on those homes. I'm not saying not to do it, but just be aware that is an actuality. It might not be for everyone, but from what I've seen, I have friends in other states as well with kids elementary school age, like my daughter is. They describe the same thing to me. And also, do you see yourself living in that property for a while? Because I believe in order to not lose money on a property, I don't know if that's still the case now due to inflation, you have to stay for an average of, I believe, 3 to 5 years. I've fact checked myself to see any like coming up even or profit from it. So just really be sure you buy where you want to buy. Not saying you can't sell it and move somewhere else, because life be lifing and things change all the time. But just think about that fact. Or if you have any disabilities or healthcare problems, is the type of property you require available to you in your area? So those are just a few of my thoughts on things to think about when wanting to buy a house, especially right now with the way inflation's going and incomes are going. You need to be very careful with your money. I'm not saying stop living, don't enjoy life. I'm just saying, like, take your time, think about it. Try to make the best decision for you that you can. Because owning a house is a big responsibility. Now it's super windy. Okay, well, it's getting really windy. I think you guys heard me rant and babble about enough things already as I'm breathing super heavy. It's like it's like 30 degrees out right now. A great time to record or walk and talk. So let me know if you want me to expand on any of these topics, make a video of something else if you like this style of video. Stay safe out there.